And now, it's that time of the week once again. Welcome to the Departure Lounge podcast with your hosts, Tom Whittle and Steve Waldridge. Your ticket to the home of aviation podcasts. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode. I need to do that. Hang on. That's what I needed to do. Good evening. Welcome to episode number 47 of the Departure Lounge podcast here on the Departure Lounge YouTube channel, the weekly aviation podcast, where we dive into the world of aviation and talk about topics such as airliners, airlines, airports, etc., whilst speaking to guests as well for 90 minutes or so. My name is, of course, Tom Whittle. I am the host of the podcast, and joining me this evening, as always, hopefully his internet will keep for the entirety of the show. It is, of course, Steve Waldridge. Steve, a good evening to you. How are you on Hump Day?
Yeah, no, really good. Well, sort of hump day. I've given up working Monday, so it still counts, I suppose. Yeah.
Like yeah, not everyone's privileged like you are. So,
well, I just haven't used my holidays. It's nothing out of the ordinary. So, how about yourself? You all good?
Very well. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Lovely. Hope everyone at home watching's in equally good spirits and looking forward to another good show tonight.
Fantastic. All right, off you pop. We'll bring you back shortly. Also joining us this evening is the contributor to the show, and it was, of course, his birthday yesterday. So, belated birthday wishes. That's the wrong thing I'm about to press. It is, of course, Ian Hartley. Ian, you've frozen on my screen, but you probably haven't for everybody else. Good evening. How are you this evening?
I'm very good, thanks, Tom. Are you? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad. Belated birthday wishes and all that.
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me.
I don't know if I mean, you are frozen on my screen, but I don't know if it's the same for everybody else.
I don't know. It's sort of moving on my screen, so I'm presuming it's all right. And everybody else, can you all hear me? I don't know.
We might be able to.
I'll wait for a comment. To
wait for a comment. It's the best thing. But you're all good, though, yes?
Yeah, I'm all good. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, doing really well. Thanks very much. Yeah, looking forward to tonight as well.
It's good. Yeah, tonight's going to be a good one. It's going to be one of the one of the most informative shows that we've done.
I would say so. Definitely. Yeah, there's some good stuff coming up. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Stay tuned.
Fantastic. So fantastic. We're going to take you off screen now. Oh, there you go. You're back. You're moving. Hey. But we'll take you off screen. We'll bring you back very shortly. Also joining us. He was away last week. However, he is here this week with us, and he's about to give us the introduction of a lifetime. It is, of course, Jer Dooley. Jer, welcome back to the show. Take it away.
By the Lord, Jazz, the noise out that fucking playing be the Jazz. And I guarantee you, Tom, tomorrow is a big day, my good friend. Those Ryanair bastards are going to get it tomorrow. I guarantee you that. But anyway, getting back to tonight. Good evening, Tom, my good friend. And I hope you're keeping well, and it's good to be back. It's good to be back.
Well, not too bad.
Good man yourself, and a belated happy birthday to Ian. I know I did wish him a happy birthday on his thing yesterday. So
wonderful.
Yes,
wonderful. How have you been this week, Joe? Or rather, I should say, since the last time we had you on.
Well, I'm still a bit on and off, Tom, but I'm good. Like I do miss my best friend. Like, you know, it's like he's basically nearly 2 weeks laid to rest now. God rest him. But as I say, I know he's up there. He's looking down on us, and he's probably looking at the show as we speak. So which is a good thing, you know. And I just seen a comment there, Tom. Mary Kelly. I want to give her a big shout out there when she mentioned me. But you'll probably be giving her a shout out anyway during the show anyway.
We will do, yes, we will do. But yes, good evening to you. We're just going to take you quickly off screen to get everybody into position.
Okie dokie, nice one.
I did cut him off rather prematurely there. There we go. We'll go like that. There he is.
No, we're back. Woo!
We're back. I mean, people are freezing on my screen. I don't know what it's like for everybody else, but we'll go with it. But
yeah, just happy being while you're still there, and it's not every day you turn 30. So I hope you had a good.
No,
one.
It's not, is it? No, big 3-0 now. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself in my 30s.
Big happy birthday to you, Ian. Fair play to you, man.
Cheers, Joe.
Yeah.
I'll catch you up, Joe. It'll be you next, won't it?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm still a couple of months away till my big 5-0, so I'm not.
Oh, you're 5-0. You didn't realise. Oh, sorry. I thought I were at the same age as you.
Yeah, hey, I wish I was in, but sure, look, as I say, 50 is still classed as a young age anyway, so thank God for that.
That's it. 50
going on
20,
15.
apparently.
Yeah.
You have to put in the chat who you think's had the harder paper round out of Joe and Ian, then on that basis.
Yeah. Apparently 50 is a new 30 according to my Sun Life insurance plan.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's not too bad.
Absolutely wonderful.
Oh,
All right,
that's
let's
good.
get into some of the housekeeping while we are having some giggles. So you can find us on social media. We are in the descriptions below. You can find us on Instagram, Discord, Twitter, Facebook, and of course Twitch, as well as we do some gaming streams every Friday and Saturday. You can also find we'll put them up as well throughout the show onto the screen. Also, you can find our shop, our merch shop. I mentioned this because this is the last week that you can buy the limited edition Lingus t-shirt. Once that disappears off the shop, you aren't able to buy it. So if you haven't bought it yet, do get the orders in very, very quickly in order to receive your order, as well as other bits and bobs on there as well. So if you want to
Tom, do me a favor, my good friend. Will you get one of the hoodie ones kept for me, and I'll be able to send off for it then when I need it.
Yes.
Good man. Thanks a
Yeah,
minute.
that'll be fine. So yes, so do check out the link in the description below for the shop. Also, we run a Facebook chat, and a good fun it is as well. So if you want to be part of that, drop us a message and we'll get you into the chat. So you can not only talk to us on the show, you can talk to us throughout the day as well. Probably wouldn't recommend it, but we'll go for it anyway. It is good fun. So yeah, definitely worth having a check of that if you fancy it. And of course, if you wish to be a guest on the show at any point, do drop us a message on any of the social medias, and we will get you on the show as soon as we can. And to finish off the housekeeping, we have got a very special segment at the end of the show that was inspired by last week's ending. I think we'll call it an ending that Ian provided with us with his strawberry chutney. So we got a special segment at the end, considering that Valentine's Day is coming up very soon. So keep around for that. That will do. So yes, one thing I do want to do before, and Steve asked me about this before we went onto the on air. I want to give a very quick shout out now to two people. One, Mark Jones, because he's suffering from COVID at the moment.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, get well soon, mate.
Put into the chat.
Yeah, get well, Mark.
He told me that earlier today, so I said we'll give him a special shout out at the beginning of the show, just to help him feel a little bit better.
Yeah, I hope he's feeling all right.
Get well,
secondly, Mark. I want to give a shout out to one of my closest friends, Beth. So we've been chatting all day, like most of the day today, and we are sort of very similar when it comes to moods and things like that. I don't like a lot of things. She doesn't like a lot of things. And so she asked me if I was enjoying my day. I asked her if she was hating her day, and she said she was hating it. What about me? And I said I was hating it as much, with a passion that burns more than gonorrhea. And we thought that was quite funny. And I said I would shout that out today. So that's the reason why I don't have it. Like everyone seemed to think there was like, oh my God, no, it's literally just a saying that I said, and I wanted to shout that out. Don't know if she's watching. If she is, that's why. So I shouted that out, and I said I would. So there you go. But yeah,
Well, get well soon, Tom.
Yeah, well, if you didn't think porcelain
I
melting,
thought he had it bad.
yeah. Porcelain melting never looks so good. Anyway, so let's get into the show. Anyway, so before we do, let's go to some comments because people are saying hello. So Ian, over to you.
Yep. So straight to it. Obviously, a big hello to Mark Jones, who's suffering from COVID and he's isolating. So he's watching us on his 79-inch TV.
Good man, Mark. Excellent. Big
Good
shout
stuff.
out there. Get well soon, good friend.
I wish I grew inches
Also
like his
got Mary
TV
Kelly
does every
on
week, I
to
tell
say
you.
hello to you, Jer, and hello to Mary Kelly there.
Big shout out, Mary. Yep.
Marco's in the chat there saying evening, guys. So good evening to you as well, Marco. And
Evening.
young Tian's in the chat as well. And she can hear me IRL, Dad, because she sat about 8 foot away from me tonight. Good evening to you as well. She can still hear me.
Fantastic.
Yeah, she can still hear me. Yeah.
Oh, good.
And my cat, who's just attacked me.
Oh, the cat.
No, there we go.
Cat. That's it.
No. You
It's
understand.
an affectionate little creature. That's
You
what-
understand now that the end of the year show is going to be basically just purely like the Ian show.
Oh, it's going to be deadly.
It's everything you've done so far.
Hey,
Fantastic.
It's crazy, honestly. It only ever likes me when it wants feeding. The rest of the time, it just wants to fight with me, don't you, Milo?
Brilliant.
Yeah. Anyway,
hey,
Fantastic.
Ian, he'll probably keep tormenting you then if he's looking for food.
well, no. I mean, she's meant to be falling asleep next to the radiator behind me, but
All
she's
right.
just staring at me. Yeah. I'll just leave her alone. That's the best
Yeah.
thing to do.
Yeah.
Just leave her alone.
Oh God.
Mark Jones is watching Big Jet TV, so it would be nice to spot to you tonight, Mark.
Oh.
Yeah. I think we're just going to have to ignore any comments now that he puts in there. You don't mention that on stream, you know. Anyway, and last comment, Ian, if you'd like to read that one out.
Yeah, hi all. It's Martin Waldridge here. Settled in for the show, and he's finishing off a 172 Hawker Seahawk, which
Very
is a
nice.
craft beer down your way, I believe, Steve.
Yeah, I think that's the one I probably got him for Christmas as well, which is very nice of me.
Good man,
I'd
Mark.
like a 172 scale beer. That'd be nice.
Big shout out there, Mark.
Fantastic. So tonight we are here to discuss airliners that basically failed to live up to expectations. We got this idea through the A380 show and decided to expand it to lots of different aircraft. We will be doing some honourable mentions throughout the evening. I've got a few on the top of my head that I've thought of, but if you guys have any ideas to aircraft that didn't quite fit the bill or didn't live up to its expectations, do put them into the chat and we'll read those out throughout the show. But without further ado, the thumbnail will give away what exactly we're talking about this evening. But we're going to kick things off with Ian, and I just remembered I've not really prepared myself for this, so I will grab a picture. But Ian, if you'd like to kick things off with a rather rare aircraft that not many people would have heard of. It is, of course, the Convair Cv990 Coronado.
Yep, right, yeah. So I'll wait for something else then for some reason. Right, yeah. Anyway, so the company Convair, they created, it was the 880 back in the 1960s. Well, it would have been the late 1950s, I would imagine. At this point, Boeing and Douglas had started introducing the 707 and the DC-8 for the sort of medium range market, and American Airlines put a request out to aircraft manufacturers in the US for the fastest plane. They wanted a transcontinental plane what would get them from the East Coast to the West Coast quicker than what the 707 or the DC-8 would do. So Convair stepped up to the plate, and they came out with the Convair 990. So The 990 was based on the 880. So you're looking at a picture of the 990 on the screen in front of you now in Swiss Air livery there. And it was only an extra 10 feet or so tall, 10 feet or so longer. I do apologise, get my teeth and all that. And it only seated an extra up to 11 passengers. So in respects to that, as much as it's a nice looking plane, it still wasn't up to the spec of the 707 or the DC-8, because the DC-8 and the 707 just had a bigger seating capacity. But what Convair said they'll do, American Airlines wanted this plane. So Convair went to American Airlines and said, we will create you a mid-range 4-engined aircraft to compete with the 707 and to compete with the DC-8, and it will be the fastest plane in the world, and we will get you from one side of USA to the other side of USA quicker than these other two. So American Airlines said, yeah, we'll put in a provisional order of 25, but you must produce these planes for us. And Convair were that confident of producing these planes that they actually said to them, if we can't produce this plane, we will pay you millions in compensation for creating a plane that doesn't live up to expectations. So it all went ahead. So that was the start of it all. So Convair created this 990. So what they did, they obviously extended the fuselage to sit an extra few people in. And what they needed to do, obviously, was to try and make the engines a lot more powerful. Now, Convair, they're very, very good at making military aircraft. And what they did, they actually used military-grade aircraft engines on this 990. And they actually developed a fan at the back of the engine to improve its performance. In turn, they created the first turbofan engine. So that was probably one of the good things what came out of this failed aircraft. So they'd created probably a turbofan engine, which is what we're all used to seeing these days, probably accidentally back then. So they started testing this plane. Right. So bearing in mind that Boeing and Douglas had already had a foothold in the market with the 707 and the DC-8, they were already taking a lot more orders for their aircraft, what was already flying, than what Convair were taking with this 990s. I think they took their eye off the ball at this point. And that's what had happened. So what they did anyway, so they created this 990, and this was probably part of its downfall. So they created these fantastic engines for it. And what they also had to do, because of the speed they wanted it to fly, before you go supersonic, you go subsonic, and then there's a little area in between, which is transonic. Now, for them to fly substantially faster than any other subsonic aircraft, they sort of had to fly into the transonic part of the spectrum, if you will, before they go supersonic. Obviously, we're never going to go supersonic. So to fly this thing transonic, they had to make some alterations to the wings as well. So for turbulence and vibrations and things like that, because apparently flying transonic in a subsonic plane is it's very bumpy, and there's more drag, and there's all this, that, and the other. So what they did, they put these pods, if you will. I don't know whether you got a picture of that, Tom, but they put these 4 pods on top of the wings to help stabilize it when it were flying at these kinds of speeds. Now, what they said these pods were going to be there for was for that reason. They sort of they put a different angle onto the wings to make it more, and they also put these 4 pods on top of the wings, which they were sort of like teardrop shape and sort of hung off the back a little bit. And they were going to use these to stabilize the wings, but also they were big enough to extend the fuel tanks. Now, unfortunately, by filling them full of fuel and what have you, it sort of made the the outboard engines, it made them oscillate at transonic speed. And it also made the inboard engines feed too much turbulence to the vertical stabilizer at the back. So it was a non-starter really with these pods at the back. They needed the pods on. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so they needed these pods on for the stability of the actual aircraft at this kind of speed, but they couldn't use them extended fuel tanks because of the inboard engine causing turbulence on the vertical stabilizer, and the outboard engines were oscillating at high speed as well, and that was because of these pods on top. So what they had to do, they had to scrap that idea. They kept the pods. They kept the pods on top of the wings, but instead of using them for fuel, they actually use them for the exits, if you will, for when they're dumping fuel. So that's all it's used for now. So they just sat there as a stabilization issue. Anyway, so the 990, so they got it up in the air and they got it flying and what have you, but they could not reach this speed what they promised American Airlines. So American Airlines brought them back to the table and said, listen, you've not lived up to your expectations. We're going to cut the order. So they cut their order from 25 initially. And what they cut it down to then was was to 20 planes. So they said that the first 15 planes don't have to fly at this high speed, what you've promised us. We just want the planes in service. But the 5 what you develop afterwards, they have to fly at that kind of speed. We do want this extra speed. Now, Boeing had already at this point that it's an absolute waste of money and a waste of time trying to fly at these transonic speeds because people aren't, for the amount of time I think it would have saved, they just said it wasn't worth developing and it was just an absolute complete waste of money. But anyway, Convair carried on and they went ahead with it. So what they did before they actually introduced it into service, they had to make a lot of adjustments to it and what have you, which is where the 990A came from. So the 990 was a sort of the development aircraft and the test bed for it and things like that, and they got that flying. But it was actually the 990A what went into service with these companies. So anyway, so American Airlines got their they got the 15 990As, and they actually, I've got some more notes down here. So they made modifications. They produced a 990A. But by this time, Boeing and Douglas had got that much of a foothold into the market that both of their orders were coming in thick and fast, and nobody really wanted this Convair 990. So consequently, really, it nearly drove Convair out of business because they only produced this plane for a couple of years. I think the first flight was something 24th of January 1961. It first flew in 1962 commercially, and it was produced until 1963. So it was only produced for a couple of years. But eventually, they did get this maximum speed of, and I don't even think I've written the maximum speed down, but it was something like 0.9 Mach, which is about 835 mile an hour, or something in that kind of region. So
I think it's about 635, I think.
Is that what it was? Right, yeah, flying at that kind of altitude and what have you. So they did actually get the fastest subsonic speed of any aircraft that has ever been. Now, to this day, it has never been beaten, and the Convair 990A is the holder for the fastest subsonic, I suppose, commercial flight, isn't it? So
it certainly
is an absolute fantastic record, but unfortunately, nobody wanted it because everybody, I think, had the fuel crisis as well and things like that. And just to put into comparison, the 990 at 35,000 feet was burning 6.24 tons of fuel per hour, doing 897 kilometers per hour.
Yeah,
now, when you compare that to a Max 8 today, obviously it's only got 2 engines, a lot more efficient and the things like that. But to compare it, the Max 8 flying at 0.7 Mach, which is 833 kilometers per hour. So it's only 64 kilometers per hour slower at 35,000 feet. Will only burn 2.2 tons of fuel. So it's saving on 4 tons of fuel per hour. So it was just an absolute fuel guzzler. Only 37 of these planes were ever produced. And it cost Convair up to about $500 million back in 1961, which I wouldn't like to say how much that is in today's money, but you're looking at a few $1 billion, I would say, in today's money.
You would be. Well, Ian, I'll tell you a good one now that you brought the subject up on this particular aircraft. I had the privilege actually of witnessing 1 or 2 of these at Gatwick, and I tell you, and listen, mark my words, they're no gentle aircraft in regards to noise. I can tell you that.
I believe so.
I shouted and swear that actually at 2 of them. I did. And I tell you, I gave them the greatest send off that I'd never forget. I can tell you that, because one of them came out very low, right over the field where I was standing in the middle of a cornfield, and it literally blew the head off me, nearly going out. And guys, I tell you no word of lie. I'd love to say what I'm going to say, but I'll keep it till the end of the show. But believe me, I let rip at it, and the black trails that came out the back of that aircraft was absolutely unbelievable. And I tell you, she got the greatest send off ever. I can tell you that much.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, they were actually known back in the day for having one of the dirtiest, noisiest engines of any aircraft that's ever been, and it was probably to do with the fact that I think you can see it on screen there that they put this fan at the back of the engine to create this turbo fan engine, but there was still a dirty, filthy, absolute noisy engine. I mean, we'd love to see them today.
Now the thing is, I don't know what particular make engine they were, but by God, I tell you, when I don't know I don't even know who the airline was that actually sent it in, but now, don't get me wrong, it was a lovely aircraft, but pity about the noise of those engines. They literally, I had a headache going back to a friend's house after shouting and swearing at it. I'll never forget it.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, that was. I was going to say that's the problem, isn't it? Like, well, it was good, and it did what they wanted. The cost of running it was astronomical.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
With sort of better aircraft coming on the market at that time, it was never going to be sustainable, was it?
No, definitely not. No, I think back at the time when it was created, it was just before like the oil crisis, and Convair sort of where Boeing and Douglas had gone for just cram people in. I mean, the amount of people they had in their 707s and DC-8s was nearly half again as what this Convair could carry. But what the Convair was selling itself on was comfort. It was one of the most luxurious aircraft inside, with we're facing each other's seats with tables in middle and things like that, and it could get you from A to B. I think it only ended up being something like 35 miles per hour more than what a 707 could do. It'd be 4 or 5 hours. It could probably knock an hour off your flight or something like that. So it could have been sustainable, but the 707 and the DC-8 had just absolutely saturated the market, and there was no room left for the Convair. So, like I said, consequently, they only ever made 37 of these aircraft. Now, you were saying about the Corridor, which is Swiss Air, who bought some of these aircraft, were the only actual company to call it a Corridor. Nobody else called it that. It was just Swiss Air alone.
Coronado.
It's nicknamed from, I suppose, in 990.
Coronado or something like that.
Coronado, not Corridor.
Yeah,
Corridor. Yeah, Coronado.
Coronado.
That's what I've got it as Corridor. Anyway, by the by.
Coronado Convair. That's what it's called.
Neither here or there.
It's neither here or there. So that was the So they never produced anymore. In fact, that was the last Brazilian. That was the last civilian. That's the word I was looking for. That was the last civilian aircraft they produced. They just carried on producing military aircraft after the 990 So that was that. So its first flight was on the 24th of January 1961, and it was actually introduced and started being sold in 1962. Wow. It was only produced until 1963 with only 37 planes produced. So it didn't have a long life.
By God.
Yeah. Its last commercial flight, Joe, which is what you were probably looking at when you saw it, was by Spantex, which were a Spanish carrier, weren't it? And that was,
that's who it was.
Yeah, Spantex. So that was in September 1987, Joe, when you saw that. So you would have been...
I remember well, Ian, it flipping blew the head off me, nearly going out. So and I was standing in the middle of a cornfield just opposite London Gatwick Airport. I you know something, I still to this day I do still hear that. God forgive me for saying I'd love to say the particular word I'm going to say, but I'll hold out till the end of the show and then I'll say it.
Yeah, so So his last commercial flight was in September 1987, and that was Spantax. But NASA carried on flying them. They had two, and they flew them up to 1994. Unfortunately, NASA lost one in an accident. And to say that they only had 37 of these aircraft had ever been made, I think I remember reading something like 7 or 8 pretty much fatal accidents. So percentage-wise, I would say it wasn't a very safe aircraft either. But that's another story, isn't it, about aircraft accidents and things like that.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it about it, to be fair. Yeah. I can't really add much more to it.
Very interesting, though. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, sign of the times and sign of the fuel costs.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think it was. I think it were. I think it just they had this massive ambition of getting this plane flying and selling it to all these people. Boeing and Douglas didn't have any. They didn't want anything to do with anything that flew any faster. And in the meantime, I mean, what they could have done is just produced. I would imagine. He could have just produced a 990 to fly at a normal subsonic speed, and it could have done quite well. This cat's cat's attacking me, and it could have done quite well. But they insisted on flying a plane at an extra 35 miles an hour, and it nearly brought the business just for one launch customer to buy 25 of these aircraft. Now, when you look at it, looking back in hindsight, I don't think it was a wise business decision, to be fair, but. Yeah, that's what they did, and that's how. But at least they sort of introduced the turbo fan engine to the market, and things like that. So it wasn't a complete. And to say in 1961, 1962, and it was flying right up to 1994 with NASA and up to 1987 with Spantax. It was a fantastically, good aircraft.
Yeah. So going back on
like that anymore.
Yeah, so going back on like what Joe was asking about the engines. That's the one I was thinking of. The engines, they're actually powered by 4 General Electric CJ805-23B turbofan engines, producing 16,050 pounds of thrust in each engine. So noisy, to say the very least, as well. Just to quickly summarize everything that Ian has just said, it had a crew of up to 4 people, including some cabin crew, a capacity of up to 149 passengers, and was 139 feet in length with 120 feet of wing span. Its performance, as we mentioned, was 620 miles an hour, which was the maximum that it got to before it managed to reach 630 30 or I think it's 35 miles per hour, I think it was. With cruising speed. Yes, that's cruising speed there. The range of it was 3,302 nautical miles, so quite a range of the aircraft as well. And notable users of the aircraft were the likes of Swissair, Scandinavian, Spantax, as we mentioned, El Al even used it, of Israel, Garuda, Balkan, American, Alaska Airlines even used it. Air France, at least one of them as well. So there was potential for it to work, but obviously with the, like Ian said, the introduction of like the DC-8s and the 707s at that time, they were always going to cruise the market. So
like you said, I think the people who did actually have them, I think they liked them, and like I said, they had also they were obviously decent planes. There just wasn't a market for it. There just wasn't. It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't needed.
Not at the time. Anyway. Not when you've got the 707 and DC-8s that can do it a lot better. I think.
Yeah, a lot more efficiently. I think that's what it were efficiency.
Definitely. Yeah. So well done.
Thank you.
Well done on that. We'll go through some of the comments before we move on to the next section, which Steve will provide for us. But if you want to go through some of the comments there, Ian. And we'll go for Mark Jones.
Yeah. So Mark Jones is a bit sleepy, guys. Is it okay if I go to bed and watch the rest of the podcast later? Good night. See you all next week. I haven't said it's all right that he can go to bed, personally.
Yeah, come back.
You get yourself well, mate. Get yourself
yeah,
better.
get better, Mark. My good friend.
That's the main
Look
thing.
after yourself anyway.
Get plenty of rest. Ryan Bowmore, hello. Just joined, and I see Convairs now. I don't know. There is. Oh God, I don't know which. I read it and it's gone out of my mind. It weren't Edwards Air Force Base in Stays. It was. I can't remember where it was, but there is a Convair 990A. What's a gate guardian at one of these places? There's Spantax have still got one in a hangar in Spain. There's another one in Spain, which is being used for cabin crew training and things like that. So they are still being used for one thing or another. So they've not all died yet. There's still a few knocking about. They've not all been scrapped and gone to the great, Victorville in the sky sort of thing. Yeah, so there's still a few of them not. Yeah. Oh, it's the NASA Gate Guardian, what Ryan Ballmore is saying there. So
Ryan is just after saying it there, Ian. Yeah. A big shout out to Ryan, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And he's saying the merch link in the description doesn't work.
That's right. I've just popped it into the chat. I will sort that out now, actually, when I'm at it.
No problem. Just another comment here from Transatlantic Allison. Hi, and a wave to her. Don't make them like that for sure nowadays. That laying the smoke down like that, proper. You want to see stuff like that again, don't you?
It would be great to see stuff like that again. Because we're getting too used to all these newer aircraft like the Dreamliner, the A350, and that. Like I know last week's show was about the 757. I still have a bit of catch up on that one. I want to get into that one myself as well.
Young Greta might not be too thrilled with it, mind.
Oh, what?
Young Greta Thunberg might not be too thrilled with that aircraft, mind.
No, I don't think Greta Thunberg. I think she's glad to sit back of them. Yeah. Michael's also saying that he knows that the DC-8 once broke the sound barrier, but that was during a controlled dive, so that doesn't count. No. I suppose the Convair was the fastest sort of doing a proper commercial flight from A to B, weren't it? Level 35,000 feet.
Wow.
Absolutely fast. And I tell you what, as well, it's a fantastic looking plane. In that American Airlines livery, what Tom was showing those pictures of there, it's an absolutely fantastic looking plane. It really, really is.
Yes.
And quite unusual with the pods on the wings there and what have you. So, nice.
I think it was also to stop vibration as well in the wings.
It was, It was all to do with the traveling at transonic speed. They had to do something to adapt it because of the how unstable the air is going between subsonic and supersonic. You've got this one little, I don't know what, 0.8 Mach to 0.85. I don't know what it is, but that transonic gap there, they had to do something so it wouldn't, fail in those conditions. So it could have been quite, it could have rattled to pieces, couldn't it?
That's it. Yeah. I will just point out that Transatlantic Allison is a name to keep an eye out for in future. Just putting that out there. Just keep an eye out for that one.
Awesome.
Okay, right.
Steve, over to you if you'd like to participate in your section. You are talking about the Vickers VC10, controversial to many because a lot of people think this was more of a military plane because obviously the way it served up until a good few years ago. But as an airliner, didn't work out well. Steve, tell us why.
Oh yeah, well the Vickers VC10 built in '62 in Brooklands in England. There was it was designed very much like the 757 to do the hot and high climate sort of in Africa and in those sort of shorter runways where these larger planes couldn't get to and that. And in that regard, so they sort of did it well, but obviously they sort of failed as it went on as a passenger aircraft, mainly because BOAC sort of ultimately lost confidence. They ordered 35 of them, and BOAC couldn't sort of financially pay for it. So they were sort of desperate for the orders to go through, and ended up having to get government funding to help the project get through. And I think BOAC in the end took 35 of them, which they needed to take just to sort of break even on the project to be able to do it. So, but it was quite a remarkable aircraft. For 41 years, it did actually hold the record for the quickest ever transatlantic flight in 5 hours 1 minute, which was the fact it took 41 years to be broken, like ridiculously kind of in this day and age, but you'd think it would last that long. But obviously BOAC's its most famous carrier. First flew it in 1964 when it ordered 12 of them, and like I say, it's just, I think they were expecting better sort of fuel efficiency and all this kind of stuff, and it wasn't a bad aircraft, but I think BOAC sort of looked to move across to the 707 at the time, and the chairman and vice chairman actually resigned off the back of these failed orders, and they said something along the lines of, "We're a profit-making firm. We're not here to prop up an indigenous company." And when the new chairman came in, he also sort of wanted to go the 707 route. But if you sort of go back a bit, BOAC did keep sort of changing the goalposts with him a little bit, which obviously didn't help. In 1960, they changed their order from. Sorry, bear with me. Yeah, they amended their order to 15 standard and 35, and then a few years later that went down to 12 standards, and then a few years later down to 7 standards. And the British government were quite keen for this aircraft not to be a failure, so they again bailed it out, and they sort of had a fairly successful career as military airliners, and they stuck around till 2013 with the Royal Air Force and that sort of thing. But I think BOAC were sort of blinded by how well Boeing had sort of marketed the 707, and they sort of wanted to go across to it. So that was ultimately where it all went to bits for it.
That's it. Yeah.
But,
so not the most produced aircraft in terms of for airliners. For airlines, I should say. So you got the likes of, as you say, like BOAC, who I think the plane was specifically built around their demands, and things like that for this hot and high sort of climate. Like you say, like what the 757 was pretty much built for. Operators included the likes of Gulf Air, Middle East Airlines, of course, BOAC, British Airways, British Caledonian, British United Airways, for anyone that might sort of know who they are, but not too many. But they went on to serve quite a bit for the military side of things. Of course, the RAF used them in the number 10, number 101, and 1312 squadrons and flight numbers. The UAE operated it for the government. The Qatar government operated one as well. So did the Oman royal family. So
there's a thing, Tom. Now, if I could cut in just for a second, am I right on this? Was these particular aircraft, were they powered by Rolls-Royce T engines? I think it was, wasn't it? If I'm correct.
Let me just confirm. Oh, Steve, can you confirm that?
I'll say yes, because no one will know any different. I'm not sure, Joe, to be honest, but I think there's an argument to say. I think there's an argument to say. Sorry, Joe.
No, you're okay, Steve. No,
I was going to say, I think there's an argument to say if this aircraft had come out a couple of years earlier, before the 707, it would have been a roaring success, and they would have had a hell of a lot of orders, and it would have been a lot more popular. But like I said previously, Boeing pushed the 707 so hard that everyone sort of led towards them, and obviously
That's it.
in time BOAC became British Airways, and they obviously didn't have much say in what aircraft was going to be used. But for the delivery of aircraft, it's iconic, isn't it? If you if you said to someone the VC10, that's what you're picturing it in the
Absolutely.
Boat livery there for sure.
Absolutely. Transatlantic Allison pointing out they are Conway, so Rolls-Royce Conway
Conway.
engines.
Right. Still noisy.
Yeah.
Still very noisy, I can say that.
Absolutely noisy.
Oh yes. If I witnessed one of them when the Royal Air Force had them, I'd say I'd be shouting and screaming at that one. I would.
I'm absolutely gutted because
Yeah.
I'm not. We'll change back. Yeah, I'm actually gutted because the I think it's either the last one or one of the RAF VC10s actually flew into Newquay, which is on display at the moment.
Oh wow.
Down at the museum there, and that was a couple of years after I moved down here. So I was like, I was gutted because I was like, oh, I wish I'd managed to get down there. I really do.
In desperation, Vickers offered a VC10 200 model to BOAC to try and sort of keep them on, and BOAC just weren't interested in the slightest in it, and obviously they had no future from there.
Look at that! Look at those engines.
It's a stunning plane, and there's a comment that Marco Barrett put. I'll see if I can find that. Here we go. And I think that pretty much sums it up. It says the VC10 is probably the most gorgeous airliner that British aviation has ever produced. And I think I'm inclined to sort of agree with that.
Yeah. Oh no, it's nice. It's a nice plane, but I tell you, it can scream when it's going out. That's for sure.
Mm. Also, hide the APUs. Jack Rolls is in the house. So.
Oh, good man, Jack. Good evening, Jack.
Yeah, all right, Sausage. How you doing?
Sausage. But yes. Also, Transatlantic Allison pointing out that the same engines as the Victor as well. Is it the Victor, the refueling plane?
Yeah. Well, obviously, we said earlier on they worked really well as a military jet. If they built them straight off the bat for military, they would have been a success. It's just a shame. But when you saw inside them in the videos, and it's like the golden age of air travel, like well-suited gentlemen and sort of good-looking girls and that drinking champagne and sort of really living the kind of golden era of aviation, wasn't it? In those.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Anyone want to add anything while we watch or have the video here of the takeoff of the VC10 for a display at an air show?
Yeah, I was just going to say back then, it like Steve was saying there about the golden age of aviation, where I think aviation at that point weren't really open to the masses, were it? So it's quite quite a well-to-do thing, weren't it, back then? But it surely is it's an absolute stunning looking aircraft. It really, really is.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, but it's only it got a lot of comparison to the Lucian, didn't it? Who had those rear engine mounts as well, sort of the same era.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That was so it sort of had a direct competitor in the market as such.
Yeah, I mean, what would you say would be the biggest comparable difference between those four engines being slung under its wing or slung to its tail? What would you say the advantage or disadvantages would be?
It was all about wing design. It would have been too low profile the way it's all designed in.
Look at that!
Yeah,
oh my God! Look at that! Oh wow! Look at the sign! Wow!
Look at that. That's a proper.
And them trees dancing, eh?
What would you give to be stood there?
Oh my God! My God!
Transatlantic Allison saying backward seating, if I remember correctly, or maybe it was just for the military ones. I think it was just for military. Yeah. I know that on the VC10 that's at Newquay, you've still got the seats in that are facing backwards.
Wow!
As well, so I'm fairly certain it's just military, unless they were part of the civilian sides of it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know for the military they had backward seats.
But yeah, it was all about the wing profile and that. In to answer your question about why the engines were rear mounted rather than actually on the wings or whatever, and the landing gear issues and whatever to probably
a bit like a 737 today, isn't it? With the engine issues they have, I suppose. They have to have these squashed engines, don't they, for them to
to
be
get
able
in and out of these,
yeah.
like I said, these hot and high airports. It probably all part of the design, isn't it? It would have given it a quicker thrust, and obviously it's got the old T-wing tail on the back there, which I know a lot of people are fans of.
Yeah, I think just general aerodynamics of an aircraft. I think if the wings are closer to the ground on takeoff, I think it would take off quicker.
That's awesome.
Just because you've got less air, haven't you, going through? So I would imagine it would take off a little bit quicker, wouldn't it?
You still see though that sort of engine mount on Jack Regan's private jets, don't you? Even these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those that don't know what we're talking about, talk amongst yourselves whilst we mention that. There it goes. Look at that. That profile there is astonishing. It's a gorgeous plane. $1 million question from Ryan Bomar. What's better looking, the VC10 or the Ilyushin IL-62?
I'll say the VC10 because I spent the last 36 hours staring at it on YouTube.
Yeah, I'd say Convair 990A corridor.
Or the Coronado.
VC10 all day long, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Although the Ilyushin 62, I think, did come first, I think, in terms of designs.
Yeah.
I think it did actually, Tom, yeah.
I think the 62 came first, and then the VC10 then came after.
The only thing about the IL-62, though, she has that little wheel that comes down at the back, because that's the keep her upright, because sometimes she has a tendency to fall back on her rear end without that back wheel or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't look too much into it. The other aircraft, to be honest, I just sort of saw the pictures of the comparison.
I would say the tail wing profile.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I've just got
the actual.
Oh, my man.
No, the VC10 it isn't.
Yeah, I can hear you in. Yeah, you're good.
All right, no, it's all right. I thought something had happened then.
Oh,
no,
you're Grandy.
No, it's all right. Happy days. Sorry, Tom. What were you saying?
One for you, Ian. You're going to be very interested in this, and I'm going to play the sound for it. Is the VC10 taking off at Manchester in 2010?
Oh, wow! Oh, this would be noisy.
So let me just ramp up the thing here. So it's only a minute long, but here we go.
Oh, wow. Yeah, look at her. Oh, I hear this.
Check it out, though.
Oh, my God.
So big shout out to Simon Lowe for this video, just in case he sees it. We are using your video.
Oh, no. Listen to that.
Listen to that noise, though, seriously.
Oh, thank you, Tom. If I had been there.
And it's south side, Ian.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. There's 2-3 left.
Yeah.
Wow, that is huge.
Imagine being that close to it.
Oh, my God.
I'll be happy when we reopen that runway.
Here we go now.
Alright, here comes the noise.
Oh my God! Oh my God! My Lord! Dead! The guys on that fucking dead in the bed! Oh my God!
What a noise!
Oh my God! Oh, the noise on that one going out!
Proper raspy, wasn't it?
Oh my God!
What I'd give to see that.
Oh my God! Did you hear the noise on that?
I won't play that again.
Oh
There
my
is still
God!
one.
Like that.
There's still one preserved at Brooklands, where it's only built there. If anyone ever got the urge to go and to visit one on the ground, there's still one knocking around where it was originally built. But I think, in summary, as a passenger plane, its days were numbered when its biggest operator sort of pulled out on it and lost confidence in it and wanted to go to the 707. But on the flip side of the coin, as a military aircraft, it had a decent life, to be honest, and it didn't do too badly. But just sort of civilian, it was, it just sort of failed for him. Again, with those 4 engines and the pace it went, there was more sort of economical aircraft that would have done the job for a lot less money for the operators, unfortunately for it.
Again, it's a sign of times, isn't it?
Yeah, price of fuel, sign of the times, cost of living.
Very good. Well done, everybody.
Bormoy is saying that Joe needs new pants. I think Ray might have a pair of them spandex joggers for you there, Joe.
Yoga pants.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks for that.
He's also pointed out the Shanghai Y10 should be discussed too, a 707 knockoff. If you've not seen it, definitely worth Googling. You can easily see the similarities between a lot of them. It's frightening how the Chinese just went, oh yeah, we'll make a plane, call it our own, but you can see that it's a complete rip-off of the 707, but designed in a later time than the 707, which why it didn't work. Wonderful. Right, so we've got a few more comments in there, Ian, if you'd like to quickly go through those.
I'm just scroll back down. What are you guys doing for your 50th on the race? Hang on. I don't even throw Conway Engines, VC10. Rob Brown saying, hiya to Jack Rolls there. And I think Rob Brown's, I don't know what that is, that little emoji thing there. I'm not sure what that means, but I don't know how far down you are with the chat, but it's one of those little winky things. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. So Jack's saying that's a gorgeous aircraft. I'm presuming he's talking about the VC10 there. So
he is.
Yeah, they're absolutely fantastic. The same engines as the Victor transatlantic Allison's saying. So I think we talked about that, didn't we? Tian's asking, what are you doing for your 50th anniversary, which is only 3 episodes off?
Oh, yeah, 3 weeks away. We reach episode 50. Well, party poppers are coming out. I know that much.
Yeah, that's it. So we'll have to have a chat about that, won't we? See what we're doing.
We certainly will.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Martin Waldridge is mentioning the Handley Page Victor.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Awesome. Nice one, Martin.
Yeah, that was one of the V bombers, wasn't it? The Victor.
I believe
Victor, Viscount, and Vulcan.
No, the Victor was like a bit like it's a T-tail plane.
That's right. Yeah, it's got the same tail as the VC10. The Victor, I'm sure it has. Yeah. Because the actual, the horizontal stabilizers on top of it, they always remind me of the Hawker wings. This is the Hawker Hunter, isn't it? They just remind me of the same profile as all. Wings. Yeah, you could stick a little cockpit on top and it look like you've got a Hawker Hunter's hat on the back of it. Rob Brown saying, I think the VC10 held the fastest transatlantic crossing record until a British Airways or Norwegian 787 brought the record a few years back. I think it was British
it's correct.
Airways,
5 hours. 5 hours, 1 minute it took.
Yeah. The Norwegian. Norwegian broke it, and then the BA 747 then broke that record.
That's
which
right.
still stands today.
Yeah, 41 years that VC held it for.
Yeah.
It was a hell of a time, real long time.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Marco Barrett, he remembers that plane. He must have been there that day. Was you there for that takeoff then, Marco, that particular day? Yeah. Jack Rolls is saying also also happy birthday to the absolute legend that is Ian Hartley. That must be me. Cheers, Jack. I can't disagree with that. Such a menacing looking aircraft taxiing straight towards you. It's fantastic footage. I think they always are on Southside at Manchester, aren't they?
Absolutely.
It's a great spot there, Ian.
Cannot beat Manchester Southside.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's brilliant. I love it.
I'll have to get up this year.
I think somebody said beginning to middle of March, I think it's reopening or something.
Is it?
I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see.
Good.
Yeah, it opened for a couple of years, I suppose, now.
The footage that Airliners do is always decent, isn't it, from Manchester? It's somewhere I want to get up to.
Yeah, but you've got the visitors part where they film from, which is fantastic. you've got cafes and toilets, and you've got visitor attractions and things like that, and you've even got the Concorde you can look around at. But if you go onto the south side, number one, you don't have to pay anything to park there because that car park at AVP is extortionate. But you go to the south side, and you just elevated right above, and you've got absolutely no restrictions whatsoever in front of you. I mean, there's no trees there because somebody cut them down, but we're not going to that.
Yeah.
Bastard.
Hey, Ian, actually, come to think of it, when you go to the south side of Manchester Airport, the only thing you have to worry about is going up a steep bloody hill, and then you climb over the gate, then to go onto the mount. I've done it a couple of times, but I done it one time there. I went up and it was after lashing rain the night before, and honest to God, the ground was absolutely saturated. You had to actually watch. You had to watch actually when you were climbing the flipping hill, because you could end up going back down on your backside quicker. Yeah,
I've slipped on that hill many a time. Yeah, it's proper muddy when you're going up it. But if you go, I think it's Moss Lane a little bit further down, you actually go to the rotation point of the aircraft as well, which is
that's right. Yeah,
spot. Me and you went there, Tom, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah,
good fun.
That's
really good fun. Southside, really.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward to get to, but it's well worth it when you get to it, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. The next aircraft I'm going to talk to has ever been Manchester, as far as you know.
I beg your pardon.
Which one?
So the next aircraft that we're going to talk about, has that ever been into Manchester, as far as you know?
No.
Oh, there we go.
No, and I shall tell you why very shortly, because it'll be my turn to do the talking. But I'll very quickly run through a few more of the comments myself. Jack Wells says, "Don't tell me there's a Concorde there, Ian. I've got to go inside her if there is." Up at Manchester.
Jack, you will never be allowed in northwest of England again. I'm sure of that.
Ryan Bomar says, "Happy 25th birthday, Ian."
There you go, Ian. Big thumbs
Great.
up there.
Here's Ryan.
And Transatlantic Alison says, "I always wave to the people on the south side when I'm departing Manchester." So I wonder if we have what if we've waved to her before? Anyway, let's jump in. Yes. All right, next one. And I don't have any actual footage of this one. I just have some flight sim footage, but we'll show the picture first, and you'll see why it's super rare to get any footage of it. It is, of course, the super rare Dassault Mercure. You have to say it with a proper French.
Wow.
The Dassault Mercure 100, which, so straight off the bat, for anybody that hasn't researched it, what does it look like?
A 737-200.
Absolutely. Ian, Steve?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, of course it does. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'd say that's it. Yeah.
Spot on. So this was Dassault's first attempt at making an airliner. They were very famous for building military aircraft and, of course, aircraft that Steve, Jack, and Isaac, if he's watching, know very well, which is the Falcon 20, sort of business jets, and, of course, the ones that fly out of Bournemouth and that through the in the Cobham liveries. So they took an opportunity to build an airliner. It was a massive risk for Dassault in the end to build an airliner which they had no experience with before. However, they looked at what air travel was like in the 60s, and in the 70s, I should say, late 60s, 70s, and they looked at the fact that a lot of routes were short haul. If you're going from Paris, which is where they would have been based, you got the likes of London, Frankfurt, Berlin, like all over to Spain and Italy and things like that. And it's all very much short haul. Now, these were operated at the time by the 737-200 and, of course, the newly built at the time DC-910 series.
Wow.
But the aircraft were using so much fuel. There was too much plane for the journeys. It was almost a waste. It's like a waste of, it's not as economical as it is now with the short haul travel that we get nowadays. So Dassault took it upon themselves to build a plane that was specifically built around short haul, which sounds absolutely crazy. And what they did, they optimized it for short haul. So they reduced the weight of the aircraft. They reduced the space in the fuel tanks in order to create this short haul plane. It also had advanced aerodynamics, which was at the time sort of revolutionary. And it had a wider cabin than its rival aircraft, such as 737 and DC-9. And it was one of the first aircraft in the time to offer a heads-up display as well. And it was also certified as a Cat 3A aircraft for automatic landings. So it was very, the Dassault pumped a lot of money into it. And they were so confident that the short-haul market would be captured by them, and it would bring back French aviation to where they wanted it to be. That they actually built 4 factories around France to anticipate the demand of the orders of this aircraft, and also expected to build its 300th airliner in 10 years of building these planes. Somebody said it in the chat just then. Ryan Bomar, operated, of course, by the wonderful JT8D engines, same as the 737-200s. Now, there was demand for the aircraft to begin with from a lot of airlines. However, the range of the aircraft was not good enough for them. So if you were an American airline and you wanted to buy this plane to basically perform short-haul routes, you could only travel a certain distance. Anyone here want to have a guess as to what the distance is? Because it ain't much.
Oh God, that's good.
1,500.
Good shout, Joe.
2,000.
Steve?
What did you say, Ian?
1,500.
1499.
That plane the price is right, isn't it?
Yeah.
The range of the aircraft was actually 1,000 miles.
Is that all?
That's all it was 1,000
Wow.
miles. And it barely struggled to do the simplest of routes, as well, because of it, which is why airlines were turned off by it.
Can I just interrupt you a sec, Tom, please? I mean, you've probably not got this to hand, but what were the range of the 737-200 at this point with the same
About
engine?
triple that,
Really?
double or triple that, if anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
So whilst the Mercure was more advanced than the 737-200, but the range let it down big time.
God.
What do you think caused that then?
What, the range?
Yeah.
The reduction of fuel tanks.
Right, is that what it was? Right.
So they reduced the weight of the aircraft to optimize it for short haul flying, and they also reduced the fuel tanks to also then help it with short haul flying. So you can only it's like putting 20 quid in your car, but that's all you could put in.
Yeah.
So you can only do the range that 20 quid will give you.
Absolutely.
Tom, there's a thing now I want to ask. Did this particular aircraft, did it ever have any major incidents or problems down the line with it?
In terms of development?
Right. Was there any crash involved or anything with it?
Not particularly. No, there was no incidents or anything.
Good. Oh, that's
good. Because it ran out of fuel before it got off the runway, Joe, so it never really got into the sky. It was fine.
Well, it nearly got really far then, right?
It had no incidents and stuff, but that's only because 12 were built.
12, all right.
That's how rare this airliner is, that 12 were built.
God.
So I'll go into sort of specifics and characteristics and stuff.
Nice,
it had a crew of 3, capacity of 162 all economy seating, was 114 feet in length with a 100 feet wingspan, and was operated by the Pratt & Whitney JT8D15 turbofan engines, producing 15,500 pounds of thrust in each.
Wow.
Maximum speed was 437 miles an hour, with a cruising speed of 575 miles per hour.
Wow.
The range of it, if you were to chuck a full range into there, was probably empty 1,295 miles, which is a measly 1,125 nautical miles, which is not a lot. really isn't a lot.
Not at all. No,
No.
it's a shame, really. 'Cause it did have potential, didn't it?
Yeah, it could
Yeah,
climb
at a
to
reasonable
39,000
range,
feet.
it would have been good.
Yeah.
Could climb to 39,000 feet, which was higher than the 737-200 at the time, meaning it would burn less fuel, but it just didn't work out because it was a short haul plane and it just didn't work out. Like I said, there were interests in ordering the plane, but the only operator of it was, of course, the airline you see in the picture, which, of course, is Air Inter, which were partnered by the French government, which actually backed this plane to be built. So Air Inter had to have them.
Yeah.
They operated for quite a while, actually, which is quite surprising. Air Inter had them from sort of 1974, which is when the first one came in, and the last one to be retired was April 1st, 1997.
Wow.
Now, not all of them survived. There are a few on display. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on display in and around France at the moment, and one is in Germany at the Technik Museum in Germany. You know, the famous one that's got the 747-200 on the plinth.
Nice.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So yeah, there's quite a few around Paris. There's one in Montpellier, one in Bordeaux, one in Marseille, another one in Bordeaux, and another one at Paris or the airport at the museum there.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, it's a shame because it had good potential. If they hadn't have gone stupid on the short haul, it would have been a rival to the 737-200.
Well, that's it. They then decided we're going to try. What they did was they looked at the 737 and they decided what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to bulk it a little bit more. And because we are anticipating a big order for the plane, we're going to look into stretching it into like you've got the 300 series and even more like a 500 series, I think, to make it even longer. The range would be bigger, but not by a lot. So it would primarily be a short haul aircraft, not even a medium haul, short haul aircraft that would basically hold more passengers, and then be able to travel a little bit further, but not much. So yeah, it's if you've never heard of this, I'm not surprised because, like I say, it's a wacky looking plane, and didn't really take off, no pun intended, in the aviation business, and of course it also put Dassault out of business.
As well,
Oh,
right?
well, yeah,
Because of
shame.
the sheer amount of money they put into it, Dassault then went out of business because of it. So it's deemed as one of aviation's biggest calamities because of the fact that it put Dassault out of business. And yeah, it's the things it had going for it was a low operating. It costs a lot less to operate it than the 737.
Wow.
And yeah, they looked to conquer the short haul market, which DC-9 and 737 were sort of hogging. So Dassault were very confident that they could take this over, and they didn't. So
The thing is, the market probably exists in this era, like Paris to London or Paris to Nice or Barcelona, something like that. Like the market's probably more relevant these days than it was then, with the amount of people who are actually flying around the place.
Yeah, it's. I suppose now, if you get it right, I think if you built that as a regional plane, like a regional jet, as opposed to just a purely short haul, I think it probably would have done a little bit better as well.
Yeah, like a fly B sort of fleet kind of thing.
Well, like at a time like the CRJ2. Well, no, even that is it. If you built that as a regional jet to begin with, which I think is what it was, it just didn't. Yeah, didn't really capture the minds. And like I say, nowadays, I think short haul with less fuel and everything else, and less bums on seats or more bums on seats, but whatever else, they call it the Ryanair way sort of thing.
Yeah.
Then it would be sort of easier to kind of get that plane into today's market than it was back then, where everyone was on about wanting to, travel here, there, and everywhere, and not really focus on just short haul only aircraft sort of thing. And that's why a lot of airlines just didn't bother in the end.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Looks a stylish looking plane though.
It's not bad. I mean, like I say, if you show that to somebody to begin with,
the
first thing you think of is literally a 737.
Yeah,
no, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
So like I said, there's no pure footage of this, so I've only got flight sim footage.
Wow.
But Air Inter were the only ones that operate it. So
It's a nice looking aircraft. Really is.
It is.
Not bad.
It's not bad looking. No, it's not bad looking.
I echo what Steve said. If you put more range on it, or what we've been saying the whole time, if you put more range on it, you would have a bit more of a successful aircraft, I think, and you probably would sell a lot more, especially for the American market, because the American market was big on this. But
the thing is, we've been particularly a French aircraft as well. If this plane had been a success, would Airbus be as successful now as what it is? If Dassault would have pulled this off, it could have changed.
True enough.
History, couldn't it?
Could have changed the complexion of things, already.
Absolutely, it could have done, couldn't
it? Yeah. Yeah, no, it is lovely though. It's a lovely plane.
Yeah, it really, really is.
Yeah.
Bad. Yeah, it's not bad at all.
No.
But yeah, there's not really much else to say on the Dassault Mercure 100 because, like I say, it only 12 done, and let's say one operator, no crashes. So, yeah, it's not too bad.
Pity it didn't really take off though, unfortunately.
Because it ran out of fuel, Joe.
Yeah.
Well,
that's why it didn't take off.
Well, that's true as well, Steve. Yeah.
Importantly, Transatlantic Allison says that Air Inter was the first airline to have an all-female crew.
Interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
That's amazing.
Question from Jack Rolls: Do you guys think Dassault has a capability of building another airline aircraft, or will they leave it to the bigger airline designs? I would say probably leave it because they're out of business.
Yeah,
that would definitely be a hindrance.
Yeah, it would, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Marco Barrett says, could we also say that the Airbus A318 didn't live up to expectations, only 80 built and only operated by 4 to 5 commercial airlines? I would say yes.
Yeah. I've only ever seen a couple going into Heathrow. They're certainly not a common one, that's for sure.
Yeah, European ones I can think of off the top of my head are Tarom, Air France, and what was British Airways. Can't think of any others in Europe.
Yeah, the little baby bus.
Yeah,
little baby bus, that's it, yeah.
Rob Brown Plane Spotting says that the A320 is today's equivalent, perhaps the C Series, as it was known early on, nearly busted Bombardier.
Wow.
That's very true before the Airbus came out.
Yeah.
Transatlantic Allison says, look at the tail. Horizontal stab had a big dihedral, much more than the 737, which is very true. Jack Rolls, it's a sleek design. It's kind of the Airbus A319 design, which is interesting, I think.
Yeah, because it looks like a 737.
Yeah.
What have we told you about having Terrier, Jack?
Yeah. Put that Peroni down, boy. Tian says, by the way, Dad, there's no noodles, so I put a Greg in the oven.
Fair enough.
Poor Greg.
Yeah, poor Greg.
Poor Greg. You put him in the oven.
I had Greg doing me washing up for me as well before he moved it to Lois. I'll have to get another home help.
And Marco Barrett says Avianca and Frontier operated them for a short time. Also, yes, they did. Yeah. So very good on that. Right, okay. Lastly, while we try and get through the last of this, which we are down to the last aircraft for tonight, which is going to be spoken about by one Jer Dooley.
Thank you, Tom.
It's, of course, I'm just grabbing pictures and everything else that we need now. It is, of course. Hold
The
on.
one and the only.
I'll get there. Hang on. I did have it. Where is it? Here we go. Let me just get rid of that. Right. Next one, of course, you'll be speaking about another sort of opportunity missed, I think, in the aviation industry is, of course, the de Havilland Comet.
Yes, the de Havilland Comet, and I have a bit of information which I googled, so I'm going to explain as much as I can about this particular aircraft. Now, sadly, never had the privilege of witnessing one, but I heard a few stories how noisy she was and everything like that. But what I have here now, it says the de Havilland Comet DH-106 was the world's first commercial jetliner, developed and manufactured by de Havilland at its Hartsfield Aerodrome in Hertfordshire, United Kingdom. The Comet 1 prototype first flew in 1949. So 1949, imagine that. And like looking at the shape of it, like there was another aircraft actually with a similar front on it, the Caravel. If any of you remember the Caravel.
Yeah, the Sud Aviation Caravel. Yes.
Yes, which was rear mounted engines down near the tail, and of course had kind of a main T tail, but the two main tails went through the main upper tail of it itself. But with the de Havilland Comet now, like did go through a few little major problems during its flights, and that did had a couple of major accidents, unfortunately, and of course they done a test in a water tank to see what it was like, and I think it actually flooded, didn't it, Tom? As far as I know.
So the original Comet had
Yeah,
a few design flaws.
that's right.
Which I think were to do with the windows, if I'm correct.
Yeah, Marco's just put it in the chat there, and for
Yeah.
those who don't sort of get it,
Yeah,
square
So
windows
the
obviously.
original,
Yeah,
the original Comet had window issues, which then caused sort of stress fractures in the fuselage, which caused planes to break up.
that's right. Yeah, they started to fall apart.
Yeah. So once Britain had the opportunity to bring the first jetliner into the world, which obviously then prompted Boeing and America to kind of then take over, I think a lot of people said it couldn't be done because nothing was tested and things like that. And obviously the crashes of, I think one was a South African Airways Comet. A couple of them were BOAC ones as well, which then, as Transatlantic Allison has just put, it caused metal fatigue. Of course, the plane's breaking up.
Yeah.
So,
and of course, the length of the actual aircraft was 903 feet in length.
903 feet.
903, yeah. Oh no, wait, no. I better quote that. 93 feet. Pardon
No,
me.
I was gonna say.
Can I just raise an issue?
Yeah, go on, Ian.
Right.
Fire away there.
I'll be honest with you. It's got nothing to do with the Comet, but it's got something to do with square windows in aircraft.
All
and
right.
It's to do with aircraft nowadays as well, because obviously in the cabin you've got like the oval shaped windows, if you will, or you've got rounded corners on them to take away the square. I've always wondered about the pilot's windows. Do you know the actual windscreen of the aircraft?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have got sharp edges on it. They've got square edges on them. Why is that never an issue? It's something that's always bothered me. Now, if anybody
Maybe
out there
because
knows why,
maybe because the pressure's direct rather than across. If that makes
I have
sense.
no idea, Steve. It's a good shout, but
That's a good shout, yeah.
Well, obviously, you look at like the 350s or whatever. they've definitely moved away from that in those aircraft. But yeah, you're right. But
You
maybe
know what I
it's
mean? They've all got square edges, haven't they? Windows on cockpits.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe it's
the
wind blowing straight towards it and the pressure towards it makes no odds whether it's round or square. And there's probably a manufacturing issue. It's probably a lot easier to produce.
And what I like about
the cockpit in that way.
Atlantic Allison just answered me questions.
Oh, there you go.
Rounded corners. Maybe it's the way I'm looking at them. What makes it look like they've got square corners?
Yeah, like the Dreamliner, certainly I put in my head as having those.
Yeah.
Oh, I would also. Oh, sorry. Go on.
The Caravel actually had very unusual shape looking windows in her. Because I will be honest with you, I did come in contact with a couple of those particular aircraft in Dublin. Air Province used to fly one into Dublin, and another airline, Air Toulouse, used to fly one as well. And now, don't get me wrong, beautiful style to them, like because the front was very, very styled, like the Comet in description, and pretty noisy. Powered by Rolls-Royce Tay engines, by the way, the Caravel was.
Lovely.
Yes.
Right.
But what I noticed about this particular picture now, Tom, of this Comet, I noticed that it has the BEA livery on it, which I like, which is on that little A319 that BA or have it. I think she's still flying. Gatwick as far as
yeah, it's at Gatwick, Joe, at the moment.
Yeah, so at least she's still operating from somewhere anyway. But I do like the livery on the Havilland Comet. It actually suits us. But I have a bit more information on the Comet here. It just says the length was 93 feet anyway, and it said that the Havilland Comet was heralded as the new age of commercial jet-powered air transport, and many predicted that Britain would now lead the way in aircraft production around the world. The de Havilland 106 Comet was only 93 feet in length, almost 15 feet shorter than its main competitor, the Douglas DC 68.
It's got a beautiful profile. Then when it showed it flying in, then it's that's a fantastic profile when it's coming in.
Oh, that's a good video now. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. Awesome. Look at that.
And of course, the Comet, as Marco Barrett says, was eventually developed into the Nimrod.
You can see it, right? Yeah. I tell you what, it's got a huge wingspan, hasn't it, for the size of fuselage?
Massive.
Yeah, massive, isn't it?
Yeah. Massive wing on it there. I'm just looking for the engine's details actually on this, but I don't think
I've got them here if you want it.
Yeah, please, Tom.
So the original Comet 1 was powered by Halford H2 Ghost engines.
Halfords.
Wow.
Not literally Halfords.
Oh.
And then from then from the Comet 2 upwards, they were operated by the very popular Rolls-Royce Avon engines, which you can actually find, I believe, at Duxford, and I believe you can also see them at East Midlands Airport as well, the Aeropark.
Awesome.
I'm fairly certain they've got a Rolls-Royce Avon engine in there.
Nice one, Tom.
Yeah, it's stunning, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Transatlantic Allison just put up Ghosts.
Ghosts and
Avons.
Yeah, Ghosts and Avons. Yeah.
Nice one, Allison. Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Wow. And you know something though? It looked a very, very lively aircraft, or really though, didn't it?
It did actually, yeah. It seemed to be very manoeuvrable for its size.
Yeah,
very manoeuvrable is right. Yeah, and look at that wing shape on it.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Lovely plane. It's a pity that it had so much issues starting out though.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? But particularly back then when they were creating aircraft like this. I think a lot of it was sort of a live and learn sort of thing, weren't it? You did something, and then I suppose it's still same today, isn't it? You only have to look at the problems what they had with the Max 8 at they create something, they have problems with it, whether the catastrophe is what they've had with it, but then they go back to the drawing board and then they improve on it to create a safer aircraft, don't they? And I think that's what.
Yeah.
And I think that just goes on through time, doesn't it? And I think that's same with anything what's created or manufactured. It's all trial and error, I suppose, in a lot of ways, isn't it?
Well, particularly in those early days of jet aviation, everything was new and obviously it's advanced what we see it is today.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you didn't have the benefit of massive computer programs and things like that, what can work things out for you. And I think the human brain's a lot more susceptible to errors than what a computer program is.
Well, that's it, yeah.
There is the Nimrod.
Oh, the Nimrod, which is styled similar to the with the wingspan of the Comet. Like I have more details here, Tom, and it just says that the first flight was on the 27th of July, 1949, and the wingspan is 35.1 meters, which was 115 feet in width or whatever, and the length is 34.3 meters, which is 112 feet 6 inches. Wow. And height was 9.3 meters, 30 feet 6 inches. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That an awesome aircraft, really. Pity about all the faults it had, though. I don't know though if it was even flying now today, would I feel safe going on to one of them? I don't know. That's the thing.
Well, today it's probably fine, isn't it? They would have ironed out, but
they probably would have rectified all the problems. Yeah.
I mean, that's it. You look at today's aircraft, and you look at the aircraft of like the of back in 60s and 70s and things like that. And today's aircraft are pretty much just based on what we've been flying for the last 60 or 70 years, I would imagine, aren't they? I mean, there's not a great deal of difference. They just become safer and more economical, haven't they?
Yeah, pretty much. But they've learned from their mistakes, haven't they?
Absolutely, yeah.
Every aviation disaster throughout history, there's a lesson to be learned, and they've improved it. Well, not everyone, but you know what I mean. A lot of them. I
think that's one of the beauties of the aviation industry, isn't it? I think every time they do have a fault, so every time there is an accident or something like that, they do learn from it and they take on board what's happened. And to be fair, it doesn't really happen again afterwards, does it? Until maybe something else happens further down the line. And it's I think it's one of these what actually do that, isn't it? I mean, I suppose automotive industries do it and things like that, but particularly aviation industries, it only ever happens once, and then they don't let it happen again, do they? Really?
Oh,
that's
it's a very safe transport. It really is.
There it goes.
Look at that. That is awesome. That is awesome.
I actually remember seeing Nimrods in my younger days.
Well, you're only 30 now.
The Nimrod, amazing.
Yeah.
Feat of aviation too.
Mm-hmm.
So to summarize, the Comet had its issues, and then by the time that they managed to create the advanced version, which was the Comet 4, the 707 was taken over. The 707 and DC-8 was taken over the market that much that this was the Comet in the end was deemed redundant, and it just wasn't needed, and it looked so out of place. It was just not great. So very quickly, Transatlantic Allison points out that the Comet accidents produced the single biggest safety change in aviation. Accident investigation.
There you go.
Yeah. There you have it. Yeah.
And I think as well with I mean, I'm just trying to think who probably the last aircraft manufacturer to have sort of integrated engines into wings as well, because that became a thing of the past. I don't know whether you class your Concorde Olympus engines as integral, I suppose, but
Yeah.
If you're going to go for a proper airliner,
Nimrod,
then no. Then there hasn't been one since, I don't think.
There's never been. I think that's just with the birth of massive turbofan engines, isn't it? More than anything else.
That's it. I'm just going to.
Oh, just to answer Martin's question, yes, it was the down there at East Fortune was a Comet there, Martin.
Wonderful. I'm just going to bring up a picture because I'm going to do a quick honourable mention, and then we are going to start to wrap the show up because time is getting on a little bit.
Yeah.
A quick. Well, hopefully everyone's enjoyed our sort of look into what could have been for a lot of aircraft designers and everything else in regards to building the planes that they had. There are so many that have been designed and ultimately sort of haven't really worked. And there's one in particular that will stick out to me, at least, because I know a little bit about it. I'm not going to go too much into it, but a little bit about it. Not many people would have heard of this either, because it never even got off the ground.
God.
So this was a joint venture between Dornier and Fairchild to produce the 728 jet. This was produced alongside the 328, which obviously we know with the turboprop aircraft. And this was, I think, this was back in 2000 and I think it's something like 2002. I think. I'm just going to clarify that. Yes, so March 2002, the rollout of the 728 was produced. 3 prototypes were built, and then the program was cancelled. Because basically what happened was Fairchild Dornier were rendered insolvent and forced to declare bankruptcy on the 2nd of April 2002. So a mere couple of weeks after this plane came out and rolled out, the company went bust and the plane never got off the ground. Want to know what they've done with it?
Yeah.
Scrapped it.
Oh, wow.
Perfect.
No, they completely scrapped it. They did structural tests all the way until 2003. And sort of a new entity came in, Fairchild Dornier Aero Industries was formed to complete the development of the aircraft. But then that went bankrupt in 2004. So in the end, they just went, never mind.
Oh,
It's a nice looking aircraft. It really is. It's dead smart.
It does look nice, yeah.
It's not exactly going to do well on passenger numbers, but it is a good looking aircraft.
Yeah.
There's one, I think, at the German Museum, Technik Museum Speyer. I think there's one that's in complete form, one that's got the fuselage, and then one that's got stubby wings on it, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, the wings were cut off in the end, so they had stubby wings. So yeah, the plane never got off the ground.
Well,
That's a shame.
It is.
Yeah.
Anyway, just a little quick honourable mention there. I thought I'd chuck that in there. But anyway, so that is the end. Well, not the end of the show, but that's the end of that portion of the show. Hopefully you enjoyed our look back at some of the aircraft that failed. There are many out there, so we may revisit this another time. However, we're going to get on to a little bit of fun now, which we've been looking forward to. So Ian's antics last week of producing strawberry chutney after a comment, I think it was by Rob Brown, who asked about Valentine's Day. We've all come up with some Valentine's Day recipes. I know that I think, Steve, you probably want to go last, don't you?
Oh, I don't mind. I'll go whenever I'm asked.
That's what she said. No, I'll tell you what. We'll go, Ian. If you've got one, we'll go. No, should we go, Ian? I mean, Ian, you are the inspiration behind this, so I think you should probably go first.
Yeah, even though I am the inspiration behind this, I'll be quite honest with you guys. I'm not a big Valentine's person. So I've not really come up with anything Valentine-y, to be quite honest. But what I would suggest is if you're anything like me and you've got a date for Valentine's night, I would just say prick it 4 times with a fork, stick it in your microwave for 4 minutes, bottle of nickel loosener, and jobs are good.
I'm super surprised you didn't go for the oven at 180 for 20 minutes.
No, because it was a microwave. I haven't got time to faff around in an oven on Valentine's night. In the oven at 120, 180 for 20
Brilliant.
minutes.
Fantastic. Well, that was research well spent. Brilliant. I'll tell you what, we'll make it a little bit more lighthearted. Steve, go on, you may as well go next.
This is for the single folk who are out there for Valentine's this year, and we don't forget you. So first up, what you need is your hopes and dreams, and then you need to smash them up as small and as small as possible. Then you need a tiny pinch, not too much, of resentfulness, and you need to then get a can of bitter, because you need to be bitter about these things. And if you're a fisherman, you can go and catch a pike, because you need a bit of pikey in there. Don't want seafood, because you don't want no saltiness in it. And then what you need to do, you need to bake it 180 for 20 minutes. Yeah. And then when it comes out, what you need to do is chuck the whole lot away, because you're better without her. You're fine on your own, young man.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's good, Steve.
These are not recipes that I was expecting, but do you know what? That's brilliant.
Well done.
That's making the end of the year show. Yeah. Good grief. Right. So we've got Ian who just says find a microwave meal. Steve with a lot of resentment. I'm going to go for something a little bit kind of, that's an actual recipe now. I'm going to go for an old classic, which on Valentine's Day is guaranteed to happen. It is, of course, Toad in a Hole.
Toad in a Hole.
For this, you need 12 chipolatas, 1 tablespoon of sunflower oil, and for the batter, you need plain flour, 2 eggs, 175 ml of semi-skimmed milk. Here we go. Step 1, you need to heat the oven at 220 for gas mark 7. Put the chipolatas in at 20 on a 20 by 30 centimeter roasting tin with the oil and bake for 15 minutes until browned. Step 2, nice. Meanwhile, make the batter. Say no more. Wonderful. And then what happens is you then put it all together, put it in the oven, and then it says step 3, remove the sausages from the oven. Be careful, because the fat will be sizzling hot. Oh. Step 4, pour the batter mix, transfer to the top shelf of the oven, then cook for 25 to 30 minutes until risen and golden. Serve with gravy and your favorite veg.
Wow. That is good.
Who doesn't like a good toad in a hole on Valentine's Day? And to finally wrap it up, Joe, give us your Valentine's Day treat.
Oh, yes. My one is...
shout it. You got to shout it.
Cockavin. Woo! And, of course, it only takes 10 minutes to do, and 90 minutes cooking time. And of course, how to prepare this? It says
Oh my God.
No, if I can stop laughing and give the ingredients to this recipe, I'll be able.
Come on, Joe.
Joe's
tell us how you
gone.
make a coco
Yeah,
van.
yeah. Cocker van.
Honestly.
Oh, honestly, this show's gone to
It's
pot.
like being in a cookery class at school.
Oh, yeah.
God.
You can say that again. Ian. Anyway, here's the ingredients. I got
I've got
cool
my
I
pad
got
with
a
my
cool-
pen.
six slices of streaky bacon.
Pardon, Joe?
Oh, I'm actually crying. Oh God. Oh my God.
Oh
We'll
my
never get
God.
through this.
I don't eat. The next one is two chicken breasts, two chicken thighs, two chicken legs, and 70 grams of plain flour, salt, pepper, two cloves of garlic chopped, three. Oh, just my eyes are drowned. My eyes are freaking drowned.
Oh,
Just get takeaway. Just buy takeaway for her.
I think so.
oh my God. Marco
Oh,
Barrett says, imagine if someone tuned in just now. I'd feel really bad for them.
Oh my God, this
Oh,
is brilliant. This is a brilliant recipe. Oh, I tell you, it's a good long recipe too as well, guys.
Well, don't read it all because we'll be here all
Yeah,
night.
it's all right, Joe.
Right, that's all I have to say. But that is the best, and it takes only 90 minutes to cook.
Oh,
Well, there you
Takes you
go.
90 minutes to say it.
Yeah.
I think it nearly did actually.
unbelievable.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, that's class.
Oh.
Jack Roll says this is the best.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I think what we'll do is, because it's we should get Joe to read a recipe out once a week. It could
Cooking
just be
corner.
literally anything, and I think it'd still be funny.
Yeah. No
Oh,
matter
my goodness me.
what day it be, Tom, it'd be still funny.
Oh goodness me! Like my head hurts because I've laughed so much.
Oh,
Good God! All right.
oh my eyes are absolutely drowned. Fucking hell! Fucking hell! Oh my God!
Let's begin to wrap the show up. I think.
Brilliant!
So I shall say a very quick thank you to everybody that's watching. We'll do the proper thank yous in a second. However, we're going to do some shout outs now. And we're going to start with Ian because we're making that a tradition to give some shout outs to people. However, before you do, if anyone has any shout outs, do chuck them into the chat. We'll get them on screen as we do ours. Ian, if you'd like to take it away.
Yeah. Massive thanks out to yourself, Tom, Steve, and Joe for tonight's podcast. It's been an absolute riot.
Brilliant!
It's been a lot of
Absolutely
fun tonight.
brilliant.
It really, really has. Massive shout out to all the people in the chat who wished me happy birthday for yesterday. Fantastic. I can't wait till my next one. And a massive shout out to everybody else who's been commenting in the chat. And yeah, thanks very much, everyone. And that's my shout outs done.
Ian says shout out to Greg, who's currently burning in the oven.
No, Greg's gone. Forget Greg.
Oh, Greg's gone.
Left the bell. I'm going to have to get another home help. I'm going to have to get another servant.
Home out, gosh.
So, yeah, I have to get myself another servant to carry on the work what Greg left. He was doing a good job as well. And then just a quick, if you're looking for anything for Valentine's Day, Marks and Spencer's are doing a meal for £2 for 15 quid. So it cuts all the donkey work out, if you will. So, but anyway, that's me done.
Brilliant. Marco Barrett saying it's the Valentine's Day recipe podcast. I won't lie, I am tempted to kind of do a jokey food type thing, but I think we'll save it for the end of the show here. But yeah, good fun. Absolutely good fun. We'll come up with another one for you next week, Joe. I think for a recipe just to read out.
No hassle, Tom.
Never has a simple recipe been read in such a funny way.
Oh, that was brilliant.
Fantastic. Just a quick one before we move on to you, Steve. Ian.
Well,
Rob
what
Brown
happened
asking,
to the sweetheart strawberry chutney? I have to say, Rob, you did put a comment on a Facebook thing yesterday, and I was looking at it, and it was strawberries. It looked nice, and it was chopped with coriander, and then there was a bit of roasted garlic thrown in it, and a bit of chili, and it was all mixed up. And when it was splodged on the plate, it looked like fish guts. So, yeah, it wasn't my cup of tea, but
absolutely not.
Of
No
course,
way.
I mean, where do you get garlic and chili from for strawberries? You not dip strawberries in chocolate and do that with them? And
Normally you do.
Yeah,
You know, people put black pepper on strawberries.
Yes, stick that chili in your eye.
Yeah, you know, some people put black pepper on chili.
Black pepper on chili?
Black pepper on strawberries, I should say.
Why?
And they roast them as well. Grim, innit?
Yeah, just a bit, yeah.
Wow.
I'm old school.
Yeah, Martin Waldridge says, "Oh, that was a good recipe section. I think we're going to keep that. I think that's good.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
But we'll keep it specifically for Joe.
Keep your eye open for ready, steady cook.
Yeah, sprout Mexican next week, Martin.
Yeah. Yes, wonderful. A good moussaka next.
Yeah. I'm going to do
right, Steve, over to you for some shout outs. Remember, if anyone's got any shout outs, chuck them in the chat. Go.
First up, Tom Jer, as ever.
Thanks, Steve.
A re-shout for Ian. Happy birthday again. I hope you had a decent day at KFC and whatever else you got up to.
Yeah, it was nice, yeah.
Everyone there in the chat who's got involved tonight, it's always decent of you to be part of it. And I haven't made this public, but I've got a Valentine's Day shout out to give. So happy Valentine's Day.
Steve, no.
Oh, brilliant.
What about the other one? I can't believe you've done that. Right. Okay.
Sorry, I do have well.
Yeah, I'm leaving you for this one. Goodness me. Marco Barrett summed it up quite well. Shout out to you guys as always, providing some family-friendly aviation fun.
Absolutely.
100%. That's what we're here for. Okay, Joe, over to you and your list.
And my list, of course, Tom, and it's usually always a long list, isn't it, for me? Well, first things first, anyway. To you three important guys. A big shout out to you, Tom. You, Steve. You, Ian, and a big happy birthday to you again, my good friend. And
thanks very much.
You're very welcome, my friend. And I hope you had a good day anyway. Yeah, and a big shout out to Paul Kelly and Mary Kelly and the family as well. And a big shout out to all my Facebook friends also as well. And of course tomorrow now, hopefully all going well. I know it's going to be a bitter cold day at this airport now when I go up there tomorrow morning. But tomorrow I think I might be in a bit of luck. That 340-200 is meant to be going out tomorrow.
Are you going live, Joe?
I hope to go live now. It depends on my data on my phone, Ian. But I won't be as foolish as what I did this morning. I was doing a transfer of my last visit that I'd done, and I deleted the whole entire file I did with all.
Shocker.
Yeah, with all. I tell you, I was absolutely livid. So, but you look, these things happen. But thank God, though. I had some of the videos done. I had the 747 that I got going out that Monday. I had done live on video on Facebook. So I'm grateful that I have that still. Thank God. So
thank God for that. Awesome.
I didn't lose a whole lot, thankfully enough. But look, tomorrow now is the dawn of a new era again. So this time I'll be more careful because I have a lot to look forward to, like regards of Delta's A330 in now tomorrow, and
that'll be nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see them again.
Definitely.
Yeah, but Anyway, back to the shout out, of course. A big shout out to Rebecca Follen and her family as well. They're good friends of mine as well. So big shout out to everybody anyway. And your Friday 747 is for you. Oh, nice one. Thanks, Jack.
Oh, this is the ex-British Airways Aer Lingus 747 that's currently painted up in KLM colours.
Oh, nice one. Awesome. Well, best of luck with that. And of course, not forgetting a big shout out to everyone that joined in on the chat tonight as well. A big shout out to all you folks. And of course, not forgetting, and I don't want to forget, a big shout out to all our frontline workers and HSE, NHS and all, doing a great job looking after everybody through the crisis and everything at the present time. And our law enforcers, better not forget them either. They do a good job as well to do, keeping everyone safe.
Yeah, my next door neighbour's been forgotten. Do you want to mention her as well?
Oh yeah, big shout out to your next door neighbour as well, Tom.
Shout out to you, Jeff, for lending shout out to Jeff for lending his neighbour batteries earlier on. Wink, wink.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Big shout out to my two neighbours upstairs. Yeah.
There's two of them with batteries.
That's right. That's their Valentine's Day sorted.
I wonder if they've had
Nice one, guys. That's me done.
Yeah, I wonder if they've had I'll say turd then, because I've just seen Jack Ross's comment. Toad in the hole. I wonder if they've had that yet. Right. Just a couple more comments here. Martin Waldridge says, shout out to the RSPCA taking better care of a cat than some others.
Yeah, that's true.
Disgraceful.
Absolutely disgusting. Marco Barrett might nominate you guys for a Streamy Award. I'll happily take one if there is one.
Yeah.
Tian says, Dad, there's no cheese in the fridge. Crying emoji.
Yeah. It's because it's been out. I need to go shopping.
Oh, there is some in ours, but it used to be milk. You can have it.
You have that piece of camembert, Steve, from about 2 weeks ago still, don't you?
Oh, I have, yeah. It's winking at me.
Oh, God almighty. Martin Waldridge says, cheers all, Coco Van all round.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Well, half a Coco Van. I didn't get a full recipe.
Yeah. I got chicken thighs and that's about it.
Yeah, chicken thighs.
I've never seen a chicken thigh.
Sausages.
Oh, wow.
We want some sausages. Rob Brown Plainspotting says, hope you had a good day, Ian, yesterday. A blast as always, lads. Yeah. Stay safe. You too as well.
Yeah, nice one. Cheers, Rob.
Awesome.
Take care, pal.
All right, my turn for some shout outs. Let's wrap this up because we're approaching 2 hours.
Wow.
Right, so a big thank you to Steve for being a wonderful co-host as per normal. Big shout out to Jer for providing us with the funniest section of the podcast ever.
Nice one, Tom.
Trying to get through a coq au vin recipe is proving proven to be a lot harder than a lot of people think. And who else have we got here? We got Ian as well. Yeah, I didn't forget you. You're fine. Ian as well for, of course, happy birthday for yesterday, and of course for doing a wonderful job tonight as well. Big shout out to everybody that's been watching, from the likes of Marco Barrett, Jack Rolls, Martin Waldridge, Tian Hartley. Who else we got here? Rob Brown Plainspotting. And also a big shout out to Transatlantic Allison, who, like I said, to keep an eye on the name because, dude,
sorry.
Keep an eye on the name because she'll be appearing on the show in a couple of weeks' time. So we're looking forward to that one as well. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Also, some shout outs to, might as well do it, one to my brother. It's his birthday today.
Oh, is happy birthday.
Yeah, February's a month where a lot of birthdays are in. So it's like Ian's yesterday, my brother's today, it's my cousin's tomorrow. It's obviously Valentine's Day on 14th. It's Reese, my best friend, and somebody that we game with. It's his birthday on the, I want to get this right, 17th. It's mine on the 20th.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice one.
My other friend's on the 23rd, and then my other cousin's on the 28th.
awesome, Tom.
So-
Tom, I just one more thing, and I want to wish anyone that had birthdays now today in my Facebook friends list and that as well. I that's what I'll start doing now, is wishing people, anyone that's on my friends list, happy birthdays as well. Like, it's nice. It's nice to think of good friends that have their birthdays on especially on the night of this wonderful amazing show, and it was absolutely a top-notch show, so it was.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it's good fun. It's good fun to do this kind of show. It's a nice little
Yeah.
light-hearted way of doing things.
Yeah, exactly.
Final few shout outs. So echo what Jer said. So big shout out to frontline workers, healthcare workers from around the world, wherever you are during this difficult time. Jack Roll says happy birthday to the family, Tom. So thank you very much.
Awesome.
Rob Brown Plane Spotting says a hard choice between, spelt wrong, but we'll go with it, Jer's Coco Van or F-18's Departing. Which one would we go for? Which one was funnier, Jer's Coco Van recipe reading or the F-18s?
That F-18 is going to take some beating, isn't it?
Yeah, that was what gave you the fame.
Something, especially now, it'll be more famous now because God rest my best friend. He was on the phone with me the day I done that. That'll be a big memory. God rest him. May he rest in peace. My best friend Brendan.
One final shout out. Before we say our goodbyes, is to a very special Munchkin who I know is watching, whether it's in the background, whether it's busy, or whether she's actually fully paying attention. I love you very, very much, and always will. So just a little cheesy bit there at the end, just because. So yeah, hope you like that one. Right, that's it for this evening. Next week, what are we doing next week?
Not a clue.
Not a clue.
Flick a coin.
No, we'll find something.
We'll find something. We always do. It's the wonderful thing about aviation is you can talk about quite literally anything
Exactly.
for 2 hours. So it's always good fun. But we will let you know what we're doing on the social medias, which you can find in the descriptions below.
I think the people who are in the chat could actually put a few comments in, couldn't they, and see if they can throw any good suggestions our way. And we talk about some of the things they want to talk about.
Actually, Jack Rolls just after putting in, by the Lord, Jesus, the eyes out of that F-18 beat the Jesus.
And he's kept it PG.
Yeah, well done.
He has, well done.
Very good. Well done. Well done. Right, so yes, we'll let you know what we're doing on our social medias, which you can find in the descriptions below. So do keep an eye on those if you want to do it. I will quickly run through everyone else's while we are here. I know we're trying to wrap it up. So you can follow Steve on Instagram at Steve_Planes. You can follow Ian on Instagram at _plane_place. And you can follow Steve on Twitter at TDLSteve.
You certainly can.
Yes. Steve Planes is in the house. Hello, Steve Planes. He says, unlucky T and I were. Oh, right. Okay. It's going to be a battle here because apparently last comment goes to T, and that is it. That's the last one we're reading out. T and does win. So all that's left for us to say is our
craziest records that have been set in an aircraft.
That's a good shout right there.
It is a good shout. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Transatlantic Allison.
Yeah.
Very good shout. I think we
Tian wants to talk about the history of TAP Airlines or airplane cheese.
Airplane cheese.
Airplane cheese.
Cheesy airplanes.
Goodness me.
What like name?
All right, let's get out of here because this is getting a bit crazy now.
Swiss air. Swiss cheese air. Camembert.
Deary me.
We got that one, did they?
All right, cheese jokes are out the way. So lastly, leave a like on the stream if you're enjoying it. If you are new around here and aren't subscribed, do consider subscribing and helping us towards 1,000 subscribers. All that's left for us to say is our goodbyes. We're going to start disappearing one by one. Ian, you're first. I did that the wrong way, but yeah, Ian, you're first.
Yep. Thanks for all the birthday messages, Guy. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you all again next week on It's Definitely a Podcast.
Absolutely. We haven't done that yet, but I'll get Steve to do that now, just while the rhythm is there. If you'd like to, It's Definitely a Podcast. Just double checking. Goodbye to you, Ian.
Yep. See ya.
Okay.
Let's go Jer next.
Goodbye, everyone, and thanks for popping in on the chat, and we'll see you all next week. And it's definitely a podcast, and a big thumbs up, everybody. And look after yourselves. You too, Tom. You as well, Steve. God bless you all. Woo!
Nice one.
And I'll say one final thing. By the Lord, Jesus, the noise out that fucking play me the Jesus. Woo!
That's Jer signing out. Goodbye to you.
Bye
Jer.
bye. Thanks, Tom.
Steve, over to you.
Yeah, everyone, have a great week. Look after yourselves. Hopefully the postman brings you lots and lots of Valentine's Day cards, and we will catch you next week. Have a great week, everyone, and take care. See you soon.
That is Steve signing out, and I'm going to sign out as well. So big thank you to you guys for watching and making the show what it is. And we'll see you next Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. for some more fun games, shenanigans, laughter, and everything else in between. So take care, everybody. Continue to stay safe, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Goodbye.